Mm-hmm.
Why are you not talking?
Welcome to After Bedtime.
No, I do the introduction.
No, I just did it.
No,
Welcome to After Bedtime with Kelsey and...
Stevan. I'm the captain now.
No.
Yes.
I just took control.
So we decided we're not saying the episode number anymore.
I don't even know what episode we're even on.
Well, you're back for another episode of After Bedtime. In this episode, we're going to talk about I don't have any idea.
We're going to talk about us watching the...
Oh, I know what we're going to talk
said.
about. I was just kidding because I've got my notes. That's why I had to go get my iPad.
Why would you even say that? I don't even know what we're going to talk about.
I was just making it funny.
It wasn't.
But before we jump into that topic, because that seems like a very meaty, intense topic.
Okay.
Why don't you tell me about what you did yesterday? Yes, your brother wants to play Call of Duty right now. Mm-hmm. But we've got to record our podcast first.
What did I do yesterday?
You went to that sale. It's like the big happening of your week.
I didn't go to the sale. I dropped off.
No, I know, but it's like a big thing that's happening this week. So
what we have been doing for the past couple, I don't know, I guess year and a half, Joplin has this consignment sale called Ray Alana, which Ray Alana is practically all over the United States. But
is it really? Is it a franchise?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a consignment shop franchise?
Yeah. It started in Arkansas, I believe. I could be wrong. But it's a big consignment sale, and ever since I have found it, I have fell in love because I can find super nice clothing for the boys that for amazing prices. Like I can get them Nike for more than half off, and it's super exciting. So for the past couple sales, I have been putting our boys' stuff, like their baby stuff, in the sale. And so yesterday I went and I dropped off our stuff, which
this is a good espresso.
I kind of like doing that part. Like my sister just does the drive-through drop-off.
You like
version.
doing the drop-off part?
No, I like going and setting appointments so I can go inside because then you have to put your own stuff away. But that kind of gives me a glimpse of what's in there. I get a preview.
You found a Ray Alana hack.
No, it's not a hack. I'm sure other moms do it too. But I kind of like going through the store.
Also,
and putting
through
the stuff
Ray Alana,
away.
we figured out what Kelsey's calling in life is. And it is to make other people organize themselves and get things done.
No, I've always... I'm a weirdo that enjoys organizing.
You spend a whole weekend just bossing your sister around.
But she's going to have the best Ray Alana sale she's ever had.
So I like the Ray Alana concept purely from a standpoint of...
It's just a big garage sale, but you have people... You can sell your stuff for higher than garage sale prices.
Which is cool and all. But I like it because it just... Kids' clothes... in terms of just, its benefit to, society as a whole. It's
Well, I mean, it's a benefit to the community because then the mom, all the families that paid all this money can get somewhat of a certain amount of money back. But it's kind of just you can sell your stuff that they don't fit anymore. You get money for that stuff, and then you can spend it at that sale to get the next stuff that they need.
Which is nice because in a way... It's a benefit for everyone, but it's really, to me, it's a huge benefit from the standpoint you don't have a bunch of wastefulness. You don't need a bunch of people buying brand new kids clothing when kids go through their clothing in literally months at a time. And then second to that, it's not that I want people to feel I think anybody's a charity case, but it's a way of sharing the cost of clothing your kid in a way. Because it's you don't have to buy... The one person spends $50 on a pair of little kids' Nike shoes, but then they're able to resell those shoes and be reworn and purchased so that the cost of clothing all those children in some ways kind of gets spread out across multiple families over time.
Well, also a lot of times, like especially in our case, we were very blessed to have a lot of family who wanted to buy a lot of clothing for the kids. So like it didn't necessarily come out of our pocket, but now whoever bought that clothing really purchased it for like multiple different kids, and now I can sell it at a cheaper price for a mom that maybe wouldn't have been able to afford, that high-end thing for their kid. And also what...
You get nice, decent quality things at a really great bargain because it's secondhand, but kids' secondhand clothing is like it's brand new.
Yeah, but also what I have liked is that at the last sale, they opened it up that... because there's an option that you can donate your stuff at the end, like the stuff you don't sell, you can donate or you can come and pick it back up. Well, one of the incentives that they're trying to push now is for people to donate, because at the last sale, they opened it up for local foster families.
That's nice.
And they could come and get whatever they needed for free. And so what was so cool to listen to, like, the main person who runs our Joplin location said that, like the kids were coming in, and she got to tell them that they could go and pick whatever toy they wanted, and just like seeing their faces light up of being able to get that. So of course this time around I like donated everything, because it just makes me feel warm inside that maybe...
It also gets it out of your hair. You don't have to worry about it
anymore. It gets it out of my hair.
But then you can also be like, I'm doing something good.
Yes, because if I got to bring a little foster kids... You are such a jerk! No. Like, if I got to bring some light into a foster kid's life because just donating something that I don't even need anymore...
No, it's just nice when you can do something for others and it benefit you. Right? I mean, that's
You're like, making it sound incredibly bad.
No, it's not. That's not a bad thing. Just because it benefits...
Like, it's great because it benefits me, but like...
No, I'm saying that is awesome. When it is a complete win-win situation, that's awesome. Like, sometimes you just do something for other people, and that's good, and you do that because you don't expect anything in return or whatever. But when you do something that's good for somebody, and then it also benefits you because it kind of gets that task off your plate, that's even better.
It's not how I was thinking about it at all. It's just the fact that I could possibly... Really, if I didn't sell anything...
Well, I'm not saying you were thinking about it that way.
I would be totally happy
that's
for it all to go to those foster families.
How I'm thinking about it that way. I know, babe. You would give away all our stuff to everybody who needs anything. Mm-hmm. And then Stevan would be broke and working like 6 jobs, supporting 23 families.
Yeah. It would bring me a lot of joy to be able to be that.
No, we're not going to do that.
No, I'm saying that if you were like...
No, we're not going to do that.
Really, really...
The new iPhone was announced today, and that was very exciting.
It's rude to cut your wife off.
I'm just kidding around.
It's distasteful.
Shots fired!
Go ahead, talk about your little iPhone.
I really don't.
I actually saw it, and it's pretty.
It's rude to cut your husband off.
Not as much as it is to cut your wife off.
I really don't. I was just being funny by cutting you off without the iPhone.
Not funny though.
Because you were talking about something really nice and charitable and selfless, and then I just went to something that was pure consumerism for myself. The new iPhone is very exciting, but I haven't really. I tried to watch a few videos of it when Cal was being crazy, but I missed all of it, so I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch
the whole thing.
You know what's really frustrating is I thought, this event's at 12 p.m. I'll be able to have it on while I'm taking my lunch today. And then, just like, wouldn't you know it, that's when I couldn't take lunch. And so then it's like, I can't watch it live again. I can never watch any of these.
Why do you have to watch it live?
I don't know. It's fun to watch it live and like experience all the excitement and like see everyone pop off on Twitter when they announce stuff. I don't know. It's kind of fun to be a part of the cultural moment of it all. Kind of like watching the presidential debate.
What's so funny is that like I didn't fully realize that was a thing.
What, like the...
That's how far I am from like the technology world that I didn't like. I knew Apple gets on there and does the unveiling of the new thing, but I didn't realize that it was like you watched it live and it was like a big, huge, dramatic.
There's a whole
thing.
industry. There's a whole industry of tech reporting and tech journalism, and all they do is cover these companies.
I didn't know anything.
It's like a whole world about it.
What I do for the iPhone is whenever I have an upgrade, I go in and Steven tells me what to get, and I essentially tell the person that I'm getting this just for iPhone games and
you
Facebook.
Just want to know the aesthetic. You're just worried about the aesthetic. That
if it's pretty
and
it works, sounds great.
Yeah, which is
I
totally
saw it,
fair.
and I don't know if this is like at the angle that they were holding it, but it kind of looked like it had a little blue shimmery tint to it.
Yeah,
and if I can get that blue one,
I forget what they're calling it. The iPhone Pro, the iPhone 12 Pro is called like Pacific Blue, and then the other one is something else.
It was so pretty.
There's a couple pretty blue colors.
I just saw that like little clip.
I'm feeling like my 12-year-old dreams have come true.
Why?
Because I've been hired to film, produce, and direct a video.
But you did those videos for Ajinomoto before.
Yeah, but like I worked there. So it was just like you have to do it because you're the only one with a camera and you know how to make a video and you'll actually
But it shows that they actually liked the work that you've done.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because the first person they thought of was like, hey, we need to call Steven.
Yeah, but like when I was like 10 or 11 or 12, that was like what I wanted to do. Like I want to be a director.
I know this, but are you like telling our fans
I'm
this?
telling you this to put it on the podcast.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But no,
I was like, I know
I don't have
all
to
this.
go into all the details, but basically, that was like, oh, I'm gonna be a director, and then I could never be a director because my parents would never buy me a camera. And then by the time
I thought they did buy you a camera.
Then by the time they bought me a camera, like 3 or 4 years later, it was like...
You were still only like 15.
I know, but it was like other things that kind of pushed out that interest. Like,
well, that's not their fault.
Like Kelsey.
That you...
And sports. No, it's not. It's not their fault.
That you changed
But
your
anyways,
priorities.
so come full circle to adulthood now, and I've spent all this money on nice computers and nice camera equipment more
I know,
than
but
anything.
Like, what if you would not have... I pushed you to finally go ahead and buy this computer. What if you had not bought this computer and you would have had this deal now, and then you would have had to been doing all that editing chaos on your old laptop?
That would have been hard. I probably wouldn't have. I don't know if I would have.
So thanks to Kelsey, it would be an easier, smoother ride.
But it's very exciting because I could maybe parlay this into other work for other things.
What is your videography name gonna be? Because you gotta have some.
I don't know. I'm just doing this one as a contractor, like a sole proprietor. I'm just gonna bill them for an hourly.
I know, but are you not gonna put a name with the video so that other companies know who to call?
No, I'm not gonna brand it or anything like that. I want it to be there, because it's really an internal video. Like they're not gonna use this for any kind of external stuff. Huh. It's just normally.
Me and your brother have been trying to make you understand that you could have been doing this for a while.
Well, it's like one of those things.
We've told you for years that you should have been doing this.
But it's one of those things where one is I'm not really sure how much time I have to be doing that in addition to everything else that's going on in our life. I know I can do one at a time or so, but I don't really know if I want to be out actively prospecting for business. But if people come to me and they have a project,
but you don't even really put yourself out enough for people to be okay, he's available to even do it.
And that's I'm not really sure if I want to or not. But it's kind of nice for people that know that I can do that stuff, that they are
but
hey.
Then how are you ever going to do it for anybody else?
Well, that's what I think for doing this. If I do a couple of things for this company, then hopefully in the future it'll be it'll just be easier to work with Steven because he does a good job and he's already done it. And then hopefully over time I can have more relationships like that and kind of be picky and choosy about what.
Maybe you can help the company you work for now.
You just wait. It'll be like another 10 years before someone ever is like, hey, you want to make a video and we'll pay you for it. I would make videos for free, but if I get to make videos and get paid for it.
Say that.
What? Yes, I can say that. Because I get to decide what videos I make for free. That power rests solely with me. What I'm saying is I enjoyed that much where I'm never not going to make videos. But if someone wants me to make a video for them, right? Because I want to make videos about what I want to make videos about. But if somebody wants me to make a video about something they want me to make a video about and they're willing to pay me, then like, yeah, let's do it.
What was that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay. Let's do it. That's where like if you were like a really good editor, like one of those vlogger editors, like, wah, 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 or like you zoom in on their face real slowly or something to make it super awkward.
I don't think you need to do any editing to make this conversation setting any more awkward than it already is.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Just for me and you.
It's the only co-host I have. Okay, what do we want to talk about next?
You say that I'm the awkward one, and then you literally just stop that conversation. You're
I just wanted to share that. I just thought we'd like ease into the podcast with a few like low-key topics, and now for the harder.
Well, then what was the point of even asking me if you now know?
Well, if you don't have anything else to share,
what if I had like a full lineup?
Do you have other things to share?
No.
See, you always do that.
But you don't know.
So last episode,
it's gonna be that way every time.
Last episode, which should have been last week's episode, but is now this week's episode because last week we didn't record one.
Whose fault was that?
Wasn't mine.
I was totally up for doing it right after we watched that recording.
No, it's too late though. In Call of Duty.
So whose fault?
I'm gonna be a professional Call of Duty player.
And a videographer and working for OnSpring and
everything else. I'm gonna do all.
I'm gonna do it all.
Okay, so last episode.
That sounds fun.
It does to me. Last episode we mentioned that we needed.
Why is that screen so bright?
I don't know. I can turn it down. Last episode we talked about how we were going to watch this webinar thing we purchased from this woman named Dr. Becky.
Dr. Becky's sleep workshop.
Yeah. Because one of the things we want to do is make bedtime
an easier transition.
Less of a shit show.
I really don't think ours is as bad as it could be. No, it could be a lot worse.
It's not a shit show. It's more just less emotional.
Yes, because I have a lot of feelings about all of this. The fact that I don't want to
the F word.
Force them to go to bed. I don't want them, I want them to feel like if they are scared or if they need to ask a question or if they need to go to the bathroom that they can get up and go.
You need to hold it until
but it's like one of those like tricky situations where like you have to walk a very, very fine line because you need to be stern enough that they get it, that they need to go to bed, but like also halfway lenient to...
Which is where me and Dr. Becky kind of like...
disagree.
Well, no, it's not even disagree. So, like, okay, yeah, so that's kind of the...
I don't think you really, like...
So, Rowan, chill. So,
it's gonna keep going because the dude just turned on his big truck.
Rowan, go lay down.
Rowan, get in your house.
If it's not kids, it's dogs interrupting our podcast.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So that's kind of the segue into what we're going to talk about, which is this... We watched it together. We watched this webinar together, and we kind of like took notes and had some thoughts. And
I didn't take notes.
You did in your head, though.
Yeah, I'm not really somebody that can like write. Like I have to fully pay attention to what's happening to be able to retain the information.
I really like to take notes. It helps me make sense of things.
I'm not that way.
I like to take notes and then type up my notes.
Whoa.
Nerd level.
That was like, yeah, like that
achieved.
was next level. Like everyone was teasing me this weekend because I have now gotten a whole bunch of Harry Potter stuff that I like wear and have on the daily, and everyone's like, nerd. That is nerd.
It's okay. I accept who I am.
Yeah, I wear the nerd label proudly.
I'm enough for me.
Okay.
Anyways, back to the webinar thing. So we just thought we'd share some thoughts from it. Do you want to start? I guess actually I want to start. I want to start with the thing you just said.
Okay.
Man, you're getting kind of an attitude now on the podcast. A little sharp, a little rough around the edges.
Dad said that he can tell that I am more comfortable in front of the camera.
So you said the thing about walking this line between stern and lenient, and she said some stuff during the webinar that I totally agree with, but at the same time I also was having a hard time because she was kind of making it very black and white, and I personally somewhat more think it is gray. It is this line that you're walking, because her point was basically that...
Well, I think she was even saying some stuff that was kind of contradictory even with what she said in the beginning.
Sometimes. And sometimes to me it seemed like a game of semantics. So I guess I'll illustrate my point here. She was saying that your kid is not doing anything to manipulate you, which I think that is a loaded word. It's a very charged word, right? Mm-hmm. So to her point, yes, I don't think our kids are intentionally... in their head thinking, I'm going to manipulate my parents. Yeah. And her point was, you shouldn't think of it that way. You should think of it as them testing your sturdiness. Yeah. Which to me is where that's you really just...
It's the same thing. It's just kind of a nicer way of saying it.
That's what I think. So I kind of think that there is a point at which your kid realizes that certain behaviors result in certain things happening. So... if they cry or get upset or whatever, and you cater to them or allow them to get up out of bed for a little bit longer, I think there's some amount of behavioral conditioning that's happening there. Whether you're aware of it, whether the child's aware of it, I think there is a level of I do X, I get Y. Mm-hmm. And so I think as a parent, that's where it's difficult because you don't want to be so stern to where you cause some kind of traumatic event for your child.
I don't want them to have PTSD every single time they lay down.
Because you're go to bed.
Yeah, I don't want, and also who wants that as they're going to sleep? Who wants to have a big huge fight and then lay down, go to sleep? Nobody wants to be yelled at and then.
Which is kind of where that's kind of was my biggest thing kind of around what she talked about was, I think that is more of the problem than really the fact that you're scaring your kid or being mean to your kid. I think yelling at your child or getting into more of a amped energy state with your kid about going to sleep. I think the reason why that sometimes feels like it doesn't work or it just makes things worse is because it does literally excite your child's nervous system to where it's even more difficult for them to relax. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's
which and to your point is that stuff she was saying made sense because that's kind of, we had a really great routine when Cal was really a baby. And then once he started becoming a toddler, all of a sudden we kind of started to slip up on that routine, but also we started to slip up on how strict we were with the routine, which I think that's where we kind of went wrong. We allowed him to kind of go to bed a little later or cuddle with us or sleep in our bed or random things like that, and then he got to the point of where he knew what buttons he could push to get
his checklist.
Yeah, what he wanted in the situation, which majority of the time he essentially just wants to sleep with us. which I'm okay. I'm not opposed
or just
to doing
put
that.
Off
it's yes.
the sleep time. To me, that seemed like that. Just delay it, where it's like, oh, I need a drink.
I feel like
I need to go to the
bathroom.
bathroom.
But it just it all develops to it all builds up to then asking, can I go sleep in? Yeah, can I go sleep in mom's bed? Which I'm not one of those parents that's like, no, you can never be in my bed. I love cuddling with Cal, but the thing is that he obviously can't be in there every single night.
Oh yeah, from a logistic and practicality standpoint.
He needs to get used to sleeping in his own bed. And so I just lost my train of thought.
Well, where I was going with it was, that was like one of my biggest takeaways is it's really about developing like good sleep hygiene and a good sleep routine. And it's about like basically putting yourself, and it's the same. It's a lot of the same things that go for an adult. It's about putting yourself in the best possible position to succeed, so that you can all actually fall asleep. Right? It's like a calm atmosphere.
Yeah.
Relaxing sounds, relaxing sights. Don't watch a ton of screens before bed. Don't all those things that like we all know that these are very good things to do to kind of put yourself into that rest and digest mode where you're just kind of where you can just kind of drift off to sleep versus trying to like
hustle, get jammies, brush your teeth, throw them in bed, and then you've had all of that amped rushing, and then to try to get them to wind back down is very hard.
And I know, like, even for my personal sleep patterns, I find it easier to go to sleep, even if it's as simple as a routine of like, I get up, put on my clothes that I'm going to wear to bed, brush my teeth, get into bed, try to read for 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm already drifting asleep where I can't read for 5. It's just having those like few simple cues of like, it's bedtime now.
Yeah.
You know, already like kind of builds that habit loop into my routine. And I think that's like to your point with Cal or with the boys, we've just got a little bit more lax in what that routine looks like. It's not as structured as probably as it should be.
I personally don't think that it needs to be the same thing every time, but that they do need to understand that like main thing first and foremost, brushing teeth, getting on jammies.
Yeah, I think
going to bed.
Her recommendation on the routine I think was really good. Was like, don't make it too long.
Yeah.
But I think it was good that it needs to be structured and it needs to be a routine, meaning it's a predictable pattern of things. And then I think that's like sometimes what we try to do is we try to stick to the routine, but we don't give ourselves near enough of the time.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say.
And then what you were saying is like we end up doing like, okay, use the bathroom, brush your teeth, get into your bed, and then the kids almost feel like panicked.
Yeah.
You know? And that I don't think we need the routine to be an hour long, but we need to like start with ourselves at the same time every night, hit the same steps.
Or even what she was talking about, like for a while, if your kids are dragging it out like 30 minutes to an hour, like dragging it out after they're supposed to be in bed, she was like, move the routine up.
To start a little earlier.
So that they are more likely to go to sleep at the time you're wanting them to go to sleep. And you don't have to stick to that forever. It's just if you know it's going to be a huge hassle.
The other thing she said that I liked was you know, when you tell your kid something, you don't need to like, I can't remember what the negative way she described it was, but the positive way is tell it to your kid like it's a truth. Right? Yeah. Like this is a statement of fact that this is what's going to happen. That way you leave them like any uncertainty about the possibility of them somehow.
Yeah. Which she's also very much like because I've been following her for a while, but she's very much like, you are matter of fact about the situation, but you can tell them it's okay that you're upset about that. You can feel those feelings, but you're still going to bed. But you don't say
like, oh yeah, well maybe we'll go to bed in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
No, it's like,
you don't give them the leniency.
Bedtime is in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Bedtime is in 20 minutes.
Which is, I think, the whole idea behind changing the way of thinking it to where it's like your kid is not manipulating your kid is testing your sturdiness, so you need to be sturdy. You need to
don't give them the leniency like
that you're stable. The decision's been made. That this is what it's going to be.
She was talking about a person being on the airplane. That like in that moment you want your pilot to be this sturdy, knowledgeable person.
Not the
panicky.
Know,
she was like, if you're hitting turbulence and stuff, and your pilot comes over the intercom and is panicky and very indecisive about you're then going to be panicky and freaking out that person's your pilot and leading. Carrying your life. So she was like, just be the confident, calm, and she made it very clear that, people mess up. And that she's even messed up before. And
I think if we're actually going to execute on some of those actionable like takeaways, like have a routine, start it at the same time, those sorts of things. I honestly think we almost have to start. We have to move. We have to, like most people, like think bedtime is like kids in bed, turn the lights off. But it's almost like bedtime is when the routine begins. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes when we're like scheduling our evenings, we typically think, we just need to be back by the house by like 8.
Well, I would prefer to like leave places at like 6:30. Because like how I did tonight. After leaving your parents, I made a very confident decision that we were going to leave at 6:30 from your parents' house, which we left about like 6:40. And
because
I feel like the routine wasn't that abruptly changed from what it normally is.
We still did
home.
what we normally did. But like tonight, I don't think we probably gave ourselves enough time because we didn't start getting kids into PJs until like 7:45.
Yeah.
But what I mean is like I think to put ourselves in a position to succeed, we have to because right now we treat 8 p.m. like sacred. 8 p.m. kids in bed, and and unless something like it has to be something way out of the ordinary and way extraordinary for us to push the kids up above that bedtime or to work around that bedtime. Yeah. But it almost seems like that really needs to be whenever we want to start bedtime
getting
routine.
Them ready.
If 7:30 is when bedtime routine, that's the new sacred time.
That we need to be home and able to do our routine.
Yeah, we're not going to violate that. The same way we don't violate the 8 p.m. rule, we should not violate the bedtime routine starts at this time rule.
Well, what's funny is I used to have a timer set in my phone to tell me to start bedtime, and then everyone made fun of me for that. They're like, you have to set a reminder to brush your teeth.
No, it is good. It's one of those things. I mean, every parent probably can relate. It's just like you've done all the stuff all day long to take care of them, and then you did the stuff after work. The making dinners, getting food, playing, whatever. And so that last like little bit of the day where everyone is finally like peace and calm, it's like the last thing you want to do is peace and calm for 30 minutes, and now let's disrupt it all again to start the routines, and I have to get up and go. It's one of those things where you're trying to put off the work until the last minute, and then you end up shooting yourselves in the foot anyways.
Really, that part of the day just kind of gets away from me. Because, like, Stevan comes home from work, and then we're talking and relaxing, playing and hanging out, and then all of a sudden I look up and it's like 7:30, and then it's like kind of a dash at that point to like.
I really liked her. I really liked the idea she had about like having some kind of like physical, tangible thing for the kid to interact with at bedtime. I liked the button that she was talking about. Yeah, like the recordable button. Yeah. And I like the idea of like, okay, your kid moves this thing, this like physical object through the bed. I get what I mean? Like she talked about how like you can have like this like bedtime routine timeline type of thing, or bedtime routine board where like the kid moves like maybe an object or like a figurine or something through that thing's bedtime as they are progressing.
Which I've seen a lot of like teachers have that for like their day, and then she'll like randomly pick a kid to move
Which is nice. I don't know. It's just some way. For me, it seems like a way of really putting your kid in the driver's seat.
Well, I think the expectation is set, and the biggest thing that is preached everywhere: kids need routines. They need routines for everything. So if you kind of set it out, they see their routine. They've done this, they need to do this, and then they'll do this, and then they go to bed. Like, if the routine is set, then there's no wiggle room to be had there.
I liked it. I like that a lot.
Well, then get on making that, sir.
So yeah, I would give Dr. Becky's workshop.
I think it was worth the $25 that we spent for it.
Anything is, and I should say, like, I do want to preface everything I just said by saying, obviously Dr. Becky is very knowledgeable, and everything she says comes from, she has like a PhD and probably hours and hours of clinical practice with kids and families and all that stuff. So,
but she actually does have a practice where she like helps kids.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So like everything she was saying and probably comes from way more of a position of authority than anything that I mentioned that I don't really agree with, or maybe have some contradicting thoughts. Like my opinion kind of falls away in comparison to hers. But I think it was like hugely valuable. I think $25 to learn from an expert is, $150 to learn from an expert in their field.
That's why I clicked and saw the tickets, I was like impressed, because I was like, to get that, it was like an hour and 25 minutes of like an actual person. Like, she does this for a living. This is her career. She's a licensed
and that's what I was saying the last time
to get that information and I only had to spend $25, and I got a link for like a Zoom call, but I couldn't attend the actual Zoom call. But like, to get that video footage afterwards is 100% worth it. Which also we get to keep it now, so if we ever need to go back and
that goes like, people just, there's a wealth of information in the world, and there's lots of people who are eager to share what they know, whether it be for free or getting paid to do that. So if you're sitting around saying you don't know something, the only person really you have to blame is yourself, because there's a wealth of resources everywhere. It's just a matter of you wanting to go.
Which and get also help. I found that she has like a whole entire YouTube channel of where she's talking about these things on all her videos. So, and more stuff with other versions of things, and of raising kids. And so and that's for free. You just got to get on YouTube and type in Dr. Becky, and you'll find all of her stuff. What?
You're just over here pitching Dr. Becky, aren't you?
Why do you tease that? Like, I don't see how that's a bad thing.
No, it's great. I'm not saying
you're just saying that, like, if people don't know things, well, then you just go find it. Well, if you're needing more information and help about your kids' stuff, go find Dr. Becky.
Link in the description. Click the like button. Hit that bell.
I don't like that you do that. It's annoying.
It's funny because that's like the internet. It's like the culture of the internet is kind
There's
of like...
There's nothing wrong with me promoting somebody that helped.
Yeah, that's the way you pay it forward. You never believe me when I'm being sincere.
Because it sounds exactly the same as your joking voice.
My sarcasm and my sincerity sound alike?
Yep.
Well, I'm being sincere. Thank you, Dr. Becky. What? You know who I feel like right now? I feel like Rashida Jones on Parks and Rec, when she's like, I'm really happy for you guys, because they're at Galentine's Day and they're talking about like their
I know, but you don't have to talk like that. Like, you don't have to say those things. Like, she said those things because she felt like she had to.
But no, she was like, I'm not trying to sound sarcastic. But then when she would say it, it would sound sarcastic.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. Because
she didn't want to be at a Galentine's Day.
Well, I think she really meant it. It just came off as sounding sarcastic when you say stuff. Sometimes that's
No,
just...
I think it comes off that way because you don't really want to say it.
What was her character
feel
name?
Like you
What was that character's name?
Well, now that you've like put me on
Leslie
the spot.
and Chris Pratt
Stop.
is... I didn't even remember Chris Pratt's name.
Andy.
Andy and Anne. Anne. That was her name. Sheeta Jones' character. And she's like, I'm really not trying to sound sarcastic. I'm so happy for you guys. And it just like sounds cuttingly sarcastic.
Yeah, but that's what is funny about you bringing all of this up is because from a girl's perspective, I'm telling you, she did not want to be there. That's why it sounded like that.
I thought it was just jokey.
No, she didn't want to be there.
It was funny.
Because a lot of girls can't hide, like, their resting bitch face or, like...
Do you have RBF?
I don't have that. I have friends that have that, and if you're listening, you know who I'm talking about. But I think I have a hard time hiding things in my voice.
You have a hard time hiding your emotions.
Yeah. Like when I'm talking, everyone can normally tell how I feel about the situation.
Yeah, you're just like reacting to everything in the world around you.
Okay, let's just throw that out there that Kelsey's dramatic.
No, not dramatic. You can just tell that like you're having a real experience to...
I don't like being caught off guard on things. I need a moment to like process the situation before I can come into the situation.
So when I get you on the podcast and I'm like, here's what we're going to talk about, and you have no idea what we're going to talk about.
It throws me off. And that's probably why I sound, why Dad made the comment of, you seem...
I'm feeling pretty critical of myself because I don't feel like I articulated my thoughts about Dr. Becky very well.
Why?
I don't know. Do you think I articulated my thoughts okay?
Well, keep going then.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm done articulating, but I just don't feel like I did it.
I feel like you did.
Thanks, babe. Thank you. Do you have anything else you want to share about Dr. Becky's sleep workshop?
No.
Well, that was episode 20 of After Bedtime.
How do you know what episode it is?
I'm pretty sure it's episode 20. I really don't know. And I really don't think anyone cares.
Well, then you probably shouldn't be saying the episode because you're probably saying 20 and then the next one's going to be 20.
People are like, wait, what?
What? I already listened to this one. And then they'll skip it and they'll miss a whole entire episode.
Well, that was the first time I mentioned it and we're 45 minutes in. So it's all good. If you're listening to this, just disregard it.
We don't know what the F we're talking about.
It's always just so hard to wrap up the podcast.
I don't really think it's that hard to wrap up. It's just you won't stop talking.
Well, I had a lot of fun recording this with you.
You always make it seem like we're saying goodbye to each other. Like, okay.
Well, I do have to go play Call of Duty now.
Yeah, but you're not going anywhere. That's literally every single night.
Not every single night.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I need to do a little bit of work for my production business now. Since I'm officially a paid director.
You keep saying director. Is it a director? Is it
well,
is a videographer? I guess yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm a one-man crew, so like I'm the videographer, I'm the editor.
You're freaking everything.
I'm a predator.
That sounds so intense.
Like a producer, an editor.
Oh.
And
is that like a thing? Do people really say that?
It's kind of like a thing in like the vloggy YouTube world because like you need that one. Like you want it. Like people want it for that.
I wonder who was the first person that was like.
The first person.
Like putting it all together and then they were like.
Well, it could also
Predator.
be kind of the bad thing because it's like predator. What?
Well, I didn't take it that way.
But it could also be like, oh, that's really cool too.
I thought it sounded kind of cool until you brought the creepy part into it.
The first place I heard it was Gary Vee, because they were starting.
Genius, man.
Like what D-Rock is for him. Mm-hmm. They were trying to hire out D-Rocks to other people that want to build their personal brand.
Mini D-Rocks.
Yeah, exactly. And D-Rock is like, he's all of it. He produces it, he directs it, he edits it. He does the whole production cycle.
Gary Vee's just the talent.
Yeah, exactly. Which most of,
Like
in
me.
in Earl in
So I'm Gary Vee and you're my D-Rock? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. That's pretty much. Which is fascinating because before that
I'm
was
not
all
a Gary
totally
Vee.
different roles. Like there was never a time when like you'd have the same person directing, shooting, and filming and editing your project.
I mean,
But then it's too expensive to make
Yeah.
videos, right? Because you got 5 people to make a video. Anyways, good episode. If you enjoyed this, find us on Instagram. My Instagram is @Stevan.freeborn. Kelsey's is at KFreeborn412. We'd love to know what you thought, and if you got any suggestions for things we can talk about, we'd take them.
well, I mean, you can say them. We might not take them.
No, we may not take them, but we appreciate them. So yeah, until next time.
Good night.
Yeah, see you guys later.